Good morning. So today's session we are going to see the forced response of a damped oscillator or a structure subjected to forced harmonic excitation and the displacement response of a harmonic excitation. So here the figure shows a mass M which is on roller, so the displacement at any time xt, it is subjected to a forcing function harmonic excitation f0 sine omega t, where capital omega represents the frequency of the external source of vibration. Stiffness k, the system is having damping. Damping is resistance to vibration and is represented by a dashpot, and c is the damping coefficient of the system. This is called the damped oscillator. Now coming to the free body diagram, this mass m is subjected to force k into x, spring force, the damping force cx dash, the external force f0 sine omega t, and we are applying the inertia force mass into acceleration mx double dot opposite to the direction of motion. So the system is now in dynamic equilibrium. So writing the equation of motion, the equation of motion is mx double dot plus cx dash plus kx is equal to f0 sine omega t. Now dividing throughout by m, x double dash c by m x dash, this k by m is omega square, natural frequency, is equal to f0 by m sine omega t. Now we have seen earlier, we have defined the damping ratio. Damping ratio is damping in the system to critical damping coefficient, or it is equal to c by 2m omega. Therefore this c by m can be written as 2 psi omega. So in this expression, x double dash plus 2 psi omega x dash plus omega square x is equal to f0 by m sine omega t. This is the equation of a structure subjected to harmonic exciting force and with damping. So now our aim is to solve this equation to get the expression for the displacement x. So solution part. Here also there is d square x by dt square plus 2 psi omega dx by dt plus omega square x is equal to a function. By putting the right hand side is equal to 0, we will get the complementary function, and for this forcing function or the right hand side function we have to get the particular integral. So the solution part, x consists of two parts as earlier we have seen, the complementary function plus the particular integral. So by putting this is equal to 0, the complementary function is obtained by putting x double dash plus 2 theta omega x dash plus omega square x is equal to 0. So the solution is, we have seen it earlier in the case of free vibration with damping, we will get x is equal to e raised to minus psi omega t into c1 cos omega dt plus c2 sine omega dt. We have defined this omega d, the damped frequency, we have defined this term omega in the root of 1 minus psi square, and the psi is the damping ratio, omega n is the natural frequency of the system. So this is the complementary function. Then we can evaluate the constant C1 and C2 based on the initial conditions. Now coming to the particular integral part, the particular solution, xp, let us assume for a structure subjected to damping, the response will never be in phase with the forcing function. So we can assume this particular integral xp or the response portion corresponding to this as, let us assume it is sine omega t. So it is not going to be in phase with that. So we assume a cos omega t plus b sine omega t. We will assume the particular solution as a cos omega t plus b sine omega t, because the response of a damped system is not in phase with the loading. Now we have to differentiate this. Xp dash will be minus a omega cos omega t sine omega t plus b omega, for sine omega t it is cos omega t. Once again d square x by dt square, once again differentiating it, minus a omega square cos omega t minus b omega square sin omega t. Now substitute this in this original equation. Substituting in equation 1, x double dot minus a omega square cos omega t minus b omega square sin omega t plus 2 psi omega into x dash. X dash is minus a omega sin omega t plus b omega cos omega t plus omega square into x. X is a cos omega t plus b sin omega t is equal to f0 by m sin omega t. So we have substituted the values of xp, xp dash, xp double dot in equation 1. Now what we are going to do is we are going to compare the similar terms. Compare the coefficients of cos omega t, compare the coefficients of, combine the terms cos omega t, sin omega t terms together and compare the left hand side with the right hand side. So from the previous equation, we compare the terms of left hand side and right hand side. Take down the terms of cos omega t. On the right hand side there is no cos omega t term. So combining it together we will get, comparing initially the cos omega t terms, we will write minus a omega square plus 2 theta beta omega into b plus a omega square is equal to 0. That is equation 3. Or this can be rewritten as a into omega square minus ohm square plus 2 psi omega ohm b is equal to 0. Similarly, by comparing the coefficients of sin omega t on both sides, comparing sin omega t terms on both sides, we will get minus b omega square minus a 2 psi omega into ohm plus b omega square is equal to F0 by M. Once again rearranging it, we'll get minus A 2 psi omega ohm plus B into omega square minus capital omega square is equal to F0 by M. So this is just rearranging the terms on either sides, comparing similar terms on both sides. We'll get an expression in terms of A and B, another expression in terms of A and B. So solve between 3 and 4. Solving equation 3 and 4, we can get A and B. So for that, what will we do? So A omega square minus B square term is here. 2 theta omega. Beta is having this term. So we multiply equation 3. So multiply equation 3 with omega square minus omega square divided by 2 psi omega into ohm. Multiply equation with that. That equation will become A into omega square minus ohm square, the whole square, divided by 2 psi omega ohm plus B into omega square minus ohm square is equal to 0. Then let it be 5. So compare these two and we can take 4 minus 5. Taking 4 minus 5, we will be getting A is equal to minus F0 by M 2 psi omega ohm divided by omega square minus capital omega square plus 2 psi omega ohm the whole square. So solve between the equations, we get the constant A as F0 by M 2 psi omega ohm by omega square minus omega square plus this. Now we know here omega square, taking omega square outside. Here also omega square is there. Taking omega square outside, M omega square will become K, stiffness. So this can also be written as, the most common written form is A is equal to minus of F0 by K 2 psi beta divided by 1 minus beta square the whole square plus 2 psi beta the whole square, where beta is the frequency ratio. Beta is frequency ratio. Normally we have to express the forced excitations in terms of the frequency ratio. So here taking omega square outside, we will be getting F0 by K. F0 by K actually represents force divided by stiffness, the static displacement. If there were no, the force was statically applied, the displacement of the system would be F0 by K. By applying it dynamically, we have amplification. So that is expressed in this term. So by putting beta is equal to frequency ratio ohm by omega, clubbing these terms, we can get the constant A. Once we get the constant A, we can get constant B from equation 3. Now from equation 3, we'll get B is equal to minus A omega square minus omega square divided by 2 psi omega 4. Substituting the value of A into this equation, substituting the A obtained from the previous step, we'll get it as F0 by M small omega square minus capital omega square divided by omega square minus omega square the whole square plus 2 psi omega the whole square. Or similarly, taking omega square outside, F0 by M omega square is F0 by K. We'll get it as B is equal to F0 by K 1 minus beta square divided by 1 minus beta square the whole square plus 2 psi beta the whole square. So now we have got the constants A and B. So the total solution x at any time. So the constant xp is equal to, we have written, we have assumed A cos omega t plus B sin omega t. We have got xp is equal to A cos omega t plus B sin omega t, where A and B values we have now got, we have to substitute in this expression. And we can rearrange it in some other form because we have to express it in terms of the amplitude. We will make an assumption. Let A is equal to R sin phi and B is equal to R cos phi, where R is the amplitude and phi is the phase difference. That is, so coming back to this, let us assume xp is A cos omega t plus B sin omega t. We are redefining it as A is equal to R sin phi and B is equal to R cos phi. Looking into the figure, I think it is correct. A is equal to R sin phi and B is equal to R cos phi, where R is the amplitude and phi is the phase difference. So that we can write xp is equal to R sin phi cos omega t plus R cos phi sin omega t. This of the form cos A cos B, cos A sin B plus sin A cos B. So that is equal to R sin omega t minus phi. Now dividing A by B, we will get tan phi is equal to A by B, that is equal to minus 2 theta omega ohm divided by omega square minus omega square, or that is the same as 2 theta beta by one minus beta square, and R is equal to square root of A square plus B square, which will work out to F0 by K into 1 by root of 1 minus beta square the whole square plus 2 psi beta the whole square. That is just mathematical rearrangement of things to make it a simpler, express it in a simple form. So we will get the particular integral at any time or the forcing part of the response as the amplitude times sine omega t minus phi, and where this amplitude is obtained in terms of f0 by k into 1 by root of 1 minus beta square the whole square plus 2 zeta beta the whole square, and this phi, the phi value is obtained in terms of psi, beta, etc. That is, if the damping present in the system and the frequency ratio is known to us, we can express the particular integral part in a much easier way. So now we can express the particular integral. The particular integral xp is equal to r sin omega t minus phi, where r is equal to f0 by k into 1 by root of 1 minus beta square the whole square plus 2 zeta beta the whole square into sine omega t minus phi. So we have got a simple expression to remember. The particular integral is f0 by k. This is static displacement. This is the amplification factor or the dynamic magnification effect in terms of frequency ratio and damping in the system, and sine omega t minus phi, where phi is equal to tan inverse 2 zeta beta by 1 minus beta square. Now we can combine the particular integral and the complementary function together and write down the equation of motion or the displacement response of damped harmonic excitation. So we have seen how to write the particular integral in terms of the amplitude of the exciting source r and the phase difference phi, and the expression for xp was f0 by k 1 by root of 1 minus beta square the whole square plus 2 zeta beta the whole square sine omega t minus phi. So this first part, the complementary function, e raised to minus I omega t into c1 cos omega dt plus c2 sin omega dt. So the total response of a damped harmonic excitation will be containing two parts. The first part is corresponding to the damped free vibration part. This we have derived, damped free vibration part. And the second term is corresponding to the forcing function frequency, or we call it as the forced vibration part. And this term involving the frequency of the damped system, since damping is present in the system, as time passes on, this term vanishes, or this is called the transient response. The first term of the total response is in the frequency of the free vibration system or the free vibration part. As damping is present in the system, after a certain interval of time, that vanishes, or that is called transient response, kshanikamaaya pratikaranam. And the next one is called the steady state response, because after this vanishes out, the system goes on vibrating at the frequency of the external source, and that part remains throughout the motion or throughout the vibration. The steady state response part remains, and the total response is a combination of transient response and steady state response. So both, this is a harmonic function, that is another harmonic function, but both are having different frequencies, different amplitudes, different phases. So the total response will be a non-harmonic response as seen earlier. So if you plot this total response of a damped vibration system, it will be something like this. It will be totally non-harmonic. But this portion, this steady state part, that will continue. So that steady state part, I will mark it here. So this portion, after certain time, the system will go on vibrating, and this portion is called the steady state response. So this is the total response. X3 versus T. So after certain interval of time, after some initial period, the free vibration part vanishes out and the structure goes on vibrating at the frequency of the exciting source. Now this vanishes. So the steady state response is we are more interested in, and the steady state response is F0 by K into 1 by root of 1 minus beta square plus 2 psi beta the whole square into sine omega t minus phi. F0 by K is the static displacement, and this term represents the amplification, the dynamic amplification or dynamic magnification factor. So this term, the variable one is sine omega t minus phi. So when this response will become maximum, this response will become maximum when this term becomes 1, or we can say the dynamic displacement maximum value of dynamic displacement at any time will be this term alone, F0 by K into maximum value of dynamic displacement will be F0 by K into root of 1 minus beta square the whole square plus 2 psi beta the whole square. What about the static displacement? Static displacement value, if there was the load is applied statically, x or delta x static, the static displacement will be load divided by stiffness, F0 by K. So the ratio of dynamic displacement to the static displacement is called the magnification factor. Magnification factor, or we call it as dynamic load factor. The magnification factor or dynamic load factor is the ratio of the maximum dynamic displacement to the static displacement, and the term mu is equal to 1 by root of 1 minus beta square the whole square plus 2 psi beta the whole square. So the dynamic magnitude, so how much the resulting forces or displacements or accelerations, everything, when a load is applied in a dynamic form, the amount by which the displacement gets increased depends upon the frequency ratio beta as well as the damping present in the system. So the effect of a dynamic load will depend upon the frequency ratio. Frequency ratio is ratio of the exciting frequency to the natural frequency of the system as well as the damping in the system. So what happens when beta is equal to 1? Suppose when beta becomes 1, beta is equal to 1, that means this frequency is equal to natural frequency. So this term becomes 0, or the mu will be equal to 1 by 2 psi. The magnification depends upon the damping present in the system. That is, at resonance, when the external sourcing frequency is equal to the natural frequency of the system, that is called, this condition is called resonance. At that time, how much the displacement gets magnified, that purely depends upon the damping present in the system. If the system is not having any damping, it will, if psi is equal to 0, what will happen? This will get to infinity. So if the system is not having any damping, then at the resonance frequency, the displacements will be infinite or very large. So we can see the variation, how the damping rate factor or the magnification factor depends upon the damping as well as frequency ratio. We see the damping magnification factor depends upon the damping ratio psi as well as the frequency ratio, and we have seen at the case of resonance, it simply depends upon the damping present in the system, and we can show a variation of the magnification factor as beta and psi varies. So this graph shows a relation between the dynamic load factor or magnification factor, the frequency ratio, and the damping present in the system. So the dynamic magnification factor is equal to 1 by 2 psi at resonance, or when beta is equal to 1. So when beta is equal to 1, we see at the frequency ratio of 1, when there is no damping, when psi is equal to 0, the response of the structure or the displacements will go infinite. Whereas if the damping ratio in the system is 1, damping ratio 1 means critically damped system, the responses will be only 0.5 times, half of the initial displacement. And when the damping ratio is 0.5 at resonance, this corresponds to the line of reference. Resonance, beta is equal to 1, resonance line. When resonance, psi is equal to 0.5, where there is 50% damping in the system, the total displacement will be the same as the static displacement. That is, it's an underdamped system. When it's a critically damped system, the displacement of the structure will be only 50%, 0.5 of that of the static displacement. But when the damping is 0.2, when there is 0.2 underdamped system, the displacement of the structure will be 2.5 times the static displacement. But when there is no damping, the displacement will be infinity. So this is a very important information in forced response. The relation between magnification factor and frequency ratio and the damping present in the system. So damping is very important in the case of forced vibration. It plays a very important role in the dynamic response of the structure. So in the next video, we'll see the numerical examples in forced excitation, simple harmonic excitation. Thank you.